Since the beginning of time, ancient civilizations believed that abundance was not a coincidence, but the result of a spiritual law woven into the fabric of the universe. A law hidden in sacred texts, ancient scrolls, and whispered only to the chosen few. A law that determines who attracts wealth, and who repels it without even knowing. Today, we uncover that forgotten law. Not a metaphor, not a theory, but a real principle that shapes your reality the moment you understand it. Here are the 10 most important truths behind the ancient law that instantly attracts wealth. The law of inner alignment. Ancient sages often taught a truth that today's world is only beginning to rediscover. Wealth is not something you chase, it's something you match. According to this old principle, abundance appears in your life only after it first exists within you. Not in your bank account, but in your mind, your emotions, and your silent expectations. Think about it. How many times have you wanted something deeply, yet another part of you whispered, "I'm not ready. I'm not worthy. It's not possible." That whisper alone is enough to block the flow of prosperity. The law of inner alignment says that the universe responds not to your wishes, but to the frequency created when your beliefs, emotions, and actions are aligned, when they speak the same language. It begins with belief. What you secretly believe about money becomes the blueprint for what you experience. If you believe wealth is scarce, hard, or dangerous, your mind will unconsciously push it away. But when you shift to the belief that abundance is natural, that it's simply another form of energy, suddenly you're no longer fighting reality. Then comes emotion. Emotion is the fuel that gives life to your beliefs. Imagine holding a belief like, "I can attract wealth," but pairing it with fear or doubt. The signal becomes scrambled. But when your emotional state matches the belief, calm confidence, gratitude, expectancy, the message becomes clear, strong, magnetic. Finally, there are actions. Not action driven by panic or pressure, but action that feels aligned, inspired, almost inevitable. When your inner world matches what you want, your behavior naturally shifts. You take opportunities you once avoided, you communicate differently, you make decisions that reflect someone who already trusts abundance. And here's the mysterious part. Once alignment happens, results tend to appear with uncanny speed. Doors open. Coincidences multiply. People show up at the exact moment you need them. Wealth stops feeling like a chase and starts feeling like a response. Now, pause for a moment. What belief about money have you been carrying that no longer serves you? What emotion can you shift today? From fear to trust, from doubt to expectation. And what small aligned action could you take in the next 24 hours? If you adjust even one of these, the others will begin to follow. The law of inner alignment doesn't demand struggle, only honesty. Because once your inner world is in harmony, wealth has no choice but to follow. The principle of open hands. They say that ancient mystics watched the world with unusual eyes. To them, a hand was never just a hand. It was a symbol, a portal, a message written in flesh. And they believed one thing with absolute certainty: a closed hand cannot receive. Picture it for a moment. A fist, tight, tense, guarding what little it holds. And then an open palm, soft, relaxed, ready for whatever life places upon it. Which one feels like abundance? Which one feels like fear? The principle of open hands teaches that generosity isn't just a moral virtue, it's an energetic switch. When you give, something inside you shifts. You loosen your grip on scarcity. You tell the universe, "There is enough. I am enough." And suddenly, life seems to rearrange itself around that belief. Think back to a time you held onto something too tightly. Money, a relationship, an opportunity. Did it grow? Did it breathe? Or did it eventually slip through your fingers anyway? Now imagine the opposite. The times you shared, contributed, released. Didn't those moments make you feel lighter? Almost connected to something invisible? Some ancient teachers even went further. They claimed that generosity wasn't about the object given, but about the space created. When you let something go, you invite something new. When you release fear, you invite clarity. When you stop clinging, you finally allow life to flow through you instead of around you. Here's a small interactive moment, just a few seconds. Stretch out your hand. Now close it. Feel the tension. Now open it again. Feel the difference. That simple gesture has guided countless seekers across centuries. It's a reminder that abundance doesn't rush toward the clenched, the rigid, the fearful. It gravitates to the open, the trusting, the generous. So the principle of open hands is not about losing. It's about clearing the path for more. Not about sacrifice, but exchange. Not about charity, but alignment. And maybe, just maybe, life itself is waiting to place something extraordinary in your palm. The moment you choose to open it. The vibration of certainty, they say there is a sound the universe can hear long before you ever speak. A silent hum that rises from within you when doubt finally dissolves. Mystics called it the vibration of certainty. And according to their ancient teachings, this frequency is more powerful than hope, stronger than desire, and infinitely clearer than prayer. Why? Because certainty is the moment your mind stops asking if and begins declaring when. Imagine walking through a foggy path. Most people move slowly, hesitating, doubting every step. But the one who walks with certainty, the fog parts for them, doors open for them, circumstances bend around them. It's not magic, at least not in the traditional sense. It's alignment. It's coherence. It's the inner decision that reality simply obeys. Mystics believed the universe responds instantly to a mind that has already decided to prosper. Not hopes to prosper. Not wishes to prosper. But has already arrived there internally. This inner arrival shifts everything. Your posture changes. Your words change. Your intuition sharpens. Opportunities begin to notice you. People start treating you differently without even understanding why. Certainty emits a frequency that others can sense. Quietly, subtly, unmistakably. So here's a question for you. If the universe mirrors the vibration you hold, what are you broadcasting right now? Fear, confusion, half-belief, or that steady inner certainty that whispers, "It's already mine"? Take a moment. Feel your breath. Imagine the version of you who has already reached that prosperity, that security, that life you want. Let their confidence seep into your current self. Let their clarity drain away your hesitation. Now ask again, what would you dare to do today if you truly believed success was guaranteed? That, right there, is the vibration of certainty. Hold it long enough, and the world will rearrange itself to match it. The mirror of the mind, imagine this. Every thought you allow to echo inside your mind becomes a brushstroke on an invisible canvas, a canvas that later reveals itself as your reality. Ancient civilizations understood this with a mysterious precision that still feels otherworldly today. They believed the mind wasn't just a place where ideas lived. It was a mirror that reflected the future before the future even arrived. Priests, sages, and wise rulers trained their people almost like mental warriors, not to fight enemies, but to conquer the silent chaos of their own thoughts. They believed that repeated thoughts formed blueprints, invisible structures that the universe, obedient and watchful, would eventually bring to life. Every mantra, every mental image, every belief was treated as sacred architecture. Now pause for a moment. What blueprint have you been building without noticing? If your mind is a mirror, What image has been staring back at you all this time? Is it a picture of abundance, growth, expansion, or is it a distorted reflection shaped by fear, doubt, and unconscious repetition? Here's the secret the ancients whispered only to the initiates. The mirror does not argue. It does not judge. It simply reflects whatever stands before it. So if you dare, yes, dare, try this. For the next few moments, choose a single thought of prosperity, one that feels bold, maybe even a bit unreal, and repeat it silently. Watch how your body reacts. Notice the subtle shift in energy. This is how a blueprint begins. The mind is always building. The question is, what are you designing? The law of sacred action. There is an ancient teaching whispered in temples, carved on old stones, and passed from master to student in quiet, firelit rooms. Intention alone is a dream, but intention in motion becomes destiny. This is the heart of the law of sacred action. According to the sages, every thought emits a spark, but only an action turns that spark into a flame. They believed the universe responds not to what you want, but to what you do with what you want. A single step, even a hesitant one, begins to generate a kind of spiritual momentum. And once momentum awakens, reality itself starts rearranging to meet you halfway. Think of it like a cosmic handshake. Your movement invites the universe to move as well. Opportunities appear where there were none. People arrive at the right moment. Paths that once seemed impossible suddenly unfold under your feet. But none of this happens until you take that first aligned action, an action infused with purpose, clarity, and courage. What makes this law sacred is not the size of the action, but the energy behind it. Writing one paragraph of a book you want to publish. Setting aside one coin for the wealth you intend to build. Making one call that your future self will thank you for. These small, almost invisible steps are powerful because they tell the universe, I am ready. Now ask yourself, what is the tiniest action you can take today that aligns with the life you're trying to create? Not tomorrow, not someday, today. Because once you move, even slightly, the universe begins to move with you. The ancient masters insisted, intention is the prayer, action is the answer, momentum is the miracle. Are you willing to take the first sacred step? The principle of worthiness. Ancient cultures believed that abundance was not something you chased, it was something you matched. And the greatest barrier to matching it was not a lack of effort, not a lack of opportunity, but a quiet, hidden conviction. I am not worthy. This is why so many ancient rituals focused on cleansing guilt, dissolving shame, and purifying the inner world. To them, guilt was not just an emotion, it was a spiritual weight. Shame was not just psychological, it was a frequency that distorted a person's ability to receive. Imagine trying to draw water from a river while holding a belief that says, I don't deserve to drink. The water is there, but the mind refuses the cup. Mystics taught that worthiness was not granted by external authorities. It wasn't earned through achievements, status, or perfection. It was an inherent spiritual state, something you remembered, not something you acquired. They believed that the universe mirrors your internal beliefs with terrifying precision. If you secretly feel unworthy, life responds with closed doors, missed opportunities, and mysterious blockages. Not as punishment, but as reflection. Take a moment, right now, to observe yourself. What blessings do you push away? What compliments do you reject? What opportunities do you hesitate to claim because it's not the right time, or someone else deserves it more, or I'm not ready yet? These small refusals are subtle confessions of unworthiness. Ancient teachers would guide people through rituals designed to release these inner knots, bathing in rivers at dawn, burning symbolic offerings, repeating sacred affirmations, walking barefoot on earth to reset the soul. Not because the ritual itself had power, but because it triggered a deep internal shift, from self-punishment to self-permission. And that is the key. Permission. Worthiness is not something you wait to feel. It is something you decide to claim. So, here is your moment of interaction. If you were to receive everything you've been asking for, wealth, love, recognition, peace, what part of you still hesitates? What belief whispers that you must fix yourself first? What voice tells you it's too soon, too much, too impossible? Listen to it. Then gently, firmly, tell it the ancient truth. I am worthy because I exist, and existence itself is permission. The principle of worthiness is not a philosophy, it's an activation. And once it clicks within you, the universe has no choice but to respond. The gate of gratitude. There is an ancient teaching that gratitude is not merely a feeling, it is a technology of consciousness. Mystics called it the hidden gate, because the moment you activate it, reality itself begins to rearrange around you. Gratitude changes what you see, what you attract, and even what becomes possible for you. Think about it. When you shift your focus from what is missing to what is present, your mind stops operating in survival mode and begins operating in expansion mode. Suddenly, ideas appear. Opportunities reveal themselves. People show up. It's as if you whispered a secret password to the universe and it responded with, "Ah, you're finally ready." But here is the part most people never hear. Gratitude multiplies. It doesn't just make you feel better. It expands the value of what you already have. A small skill becomes a blessing. A minor connection becomes a bridge. A tiny step becomes a doorway. Through gratitude, the ordinary becomes enchanted. And the strangest thing, gratitude changes you. It alters your posture toward life. It softens your resistance, dissolves bitterness, and unlocks a kind of inner clarity that sharpens your decisions. You begin to see patterns you missed before. You become more intuitive, more aligned, more magnetic. Ask yourself right now, what is one thing in your life that you've underestimated? What is one blessing you walk past every day without noticing? Hold it in your mind. Feel it. Honor it. Watch how your body shifts, even slightly. That shift is the gate opening. Gratitude isn't passive. It is active, powerful, and strategic. And once you learn how to walk through this gate, you'll realize it was never the world holding you back. It was the way you were seeing it. The law of invisible preparation. Every ancient culture had a silent rule whispered only to those ready to understand it. Blessings do not arrive by accident. They arrive by invitation. And the invitation is preparation. The law of invisible preparation teaches that what you prepare for in the unseen eventually manifests in the seen. Long before prosperity touched their hands, ancient leaders trained their minds, shaped their habits, and crafted their environment. They behaved as if the future they desired was already walking toward them. Ask yourself, what are you quietly preparing for, even when no one is watching? Because preparation is more than action. It is a spiritual message, a signal, a declaration to the universe. I am ready to receive. Mystics believed that when you organize your inner world, your outer world begins to rearrange itself to match. When you create space, something rushes to fill it. When you sharpen your skills, opportunities begin to recognize you. When you prepare the table, the guests appear. Notice how strange this seems. Often, the universe waits for your readiness, not your request. Many people ask, but only a few prepare. And preparation is the language the universe cannot ignore. Imagine this. What if every book you read, every small habit you upgrade, every drawer you clean, every fear you confront, is actually a signal being broadcast into the unseen? What if your daily discipline is a beacon calling your future closer? So here is the mystical challenge for you. If the blessing arrived tomorrow, would your life have room for it? Would your mind, your routine, your confidence, your environment be able to hold it? The law of invisible preparation says that your future starts responding the moment you act as if it's already chosen you. Prepare quietly. Prepare boldly. Prepare before the world believes in you. Because the universe always rewards those who are ready before they are seen. The rule of selective silence. Ancient sages believed that silence was not emptiness, it was protection. They treated their visions the way a gardener treats fragile seeds, hidden beneath the soil, shielded from wandering feet, harsh winds, and curious hands. They knew that the earliest stage of a dream is also its most vulnerable. Speak too soon, and the energy scatters. Reveal too early, and the world's doubts, envy, or confusion can crush what hasn't yet taken form. Selective silence was not secrecy for secrecy's sake. It was strategy, a spiritual discipline, a way of preserving momentum. When you speak of a vision prematurely, you invite outside forces into an inner process that isn't ready to be touched. Think about how many times you've shared an idea and suddenly felt your excitement dissolve, as if the simple act of exposing it made it weaker. The ancients believed that every spoken word releases a portion of your spiritual energy. If you speak before your foundations are strong, you risk draining the very power you need to build. They taught, silence is the womb of manifestation. Inside silence, your vision grows its roots, invisible, protected, becoming something stable enough to face the world. Even now, this law still tests you. What dreams are you nurturing quietly? What plans feel too sacred to announce? What would happen if, just for a while, you kept your vision between you and the universe? No explanations, no validation seeking, no noise. Try it. Guard your next dream with disciplined silence. Let your actions reveal it only when it's undeniable. The moment you do, you'll understand why the wise spoke less and achieved more. The principle of unwavering faith. The ancients insisted on something most people today secretly struggle with: holding the vision before the results appear. To them, faith wasn't a religious gesture or a hopeful prayer. It was a vibration, a frequency that tuned the mind to the reality it wanted to create. They believed that the moment you decide to hold a vision with absolute certainty, even when the world gives you zero evidence, you activate a hidden mechanism of creation. But here's the strange part. The silence before the breakthrough wasn't a test. It was the signal. The universe, they said, goes quiet right before something rearranges itself. And only the ones who keep their inner flame steady during this quiet phase truly unlock the path. Imagine this for a moment. What if the delay you fear is actually the moment your future is crystallizing? What if the lack of signs is the sign? Unwavering faith is not passive. It is a force that bends probability. It sharpens intuition. It opens subtle doors you never noticed before. Most people collapse in the gap, the space between intention and manifestation, and that collapse kills 99% of their potential blessings. The ancient masters had a simple ritual. They would see the outcome as already done, breathe as if it were already real, and walk as if nothing could shake it. They treated their future like a memory rather than a possibility. So ask yourself, quietly, honestly, right now, if everything you wanted was already on its way, how would you think? How would you act? How would you hold yourself? That version of you, the one who trusts without evidence, is the version that unlocks abundance. And once faith becomes unwavering, reality has no choice but to follow.